Well, good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome to today's a little bit of gardening adventures. So, first let me just say I'm doing a little better today. I hope that my video won't be so full of ums and hesitation and crying breaks, but it might be. We shall see. So it's really humid and a little foggy this morning, and I wanted to share a product that works for me, guys. I do not like using DEET or heavy chemicals on my body, but this is made by Off. It is plant-based repellent. DEET, I said DEET, didn't I? Okay, it's DEET free. Repels mosquitoes, and y'all, I get eat up. If you see my arm here, I've got all kinds of bites. I look horrible, and of course I have the funeral day after tomorrow, so I'm trying not to get any more. I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've been doing in my garden, things that I've been doing well, things that I really did not do so well on, and that I will change for next year. One of the things I like to do is keep notes about what worked well and what didn't work well. And y'all, if you're wondering what's going on the siding, that's from the humidity and the fog, so watch my hair frizz. All right, guys, let's get started. Okay, y'all, I thought I'd sit down here a minute and just have a little chat with you. I've spent a lot of videos right here looking at my bad deck, which is one of the things I plan to do next summer, is to get a new fence and a new deck, but not this year, right? So, again, thank you all for your kind thoughts, comments, prayers, all the things. You will never know how much that has meant to me, and I'm not going to cry. Yesterday, several of you were saying, you know, take your time, take some time for you. And guys, that is not my nature to be sedentary. And I literally took yesterday off, did nothing, period, except lay on the couch or lay in bed and take care of my animals. That's all I did yesterday. That said, I woke up in a near panic just thinking about there's a mosquito. Hate those things, and they love me, guys. But just thinking about all the things that I had to do, that I had skipped a day, which it shouldn't be an issue. But as you will see as I share an early July garden tour, I way overplanted things close together. I'm kind of notorious for that, and usually it works out okay. It's working out okay. It's just there's a lot of stuff in the garden. So I decided to fill the freeze dryer this morning, and I get a lot of questions like, well, what can you put in together? Well, the smells don't transfer, so you can put like onions and jalapenos in with berries, and your berries won't taste like onions or jalapenos. But this morning I loaded the freeze dryer. I gave it a break last night with black raspberries, strawberries, some herbs, and a tray of shredded zucchini. Had to think about that for a minute. The couple rules about the freeze dryer is I don't like to run it unless it's full, just like you don't run your canner unless it's full, but you cannot put frozen and non-frozen things together. So even though I normally don't do my herbs because they're quick, with things that are going to take way longer, like berries, which are very high in water, zucchini, which is very high in water, it doesn't hurt them as long as nothing is frozen. If something is frozen and something is not, I'm not really sure, but there's a big caution. It will tell you on the screen, do not mix frozen and non-frozen foods. So those berries and zucchini will probably take about 36 hours. So sometime tomorrow I should be able to wrap it up and vacuum seal them, which is nice. I did get all of my onions and things that we did on a previous video packaged up, and that's nice as well. But today I need to do a little bit of work in the garden. I've got a little bit of stuff to harvest. I have some cabbage I think I'm gonna harvest, some broccoli, and a whole bunch of weeds to pull. Y'all, they are just taking over. So if you hear a lot of noise going on in the background, it is my chickens. I think there's 3 in the laying box right now. Cross your fingers, Miss Violet went in. Maybe she will give me an egg today. Somebody was singing the egg song a little bit ago while I was out front deadheading the roses and feeding those, and the bugs are eating those to death. So in the front, I will, as long as it's not something I'm going to consume, I will use some bug killer because they are eating my roses down to sticks, and I don't want them to die. So I think that's Fancy Ray out there, so she'll probably be following me around through this. But let's take a little tour of what's what, and I'll talk a little bit about what has been successful, what I probably didn't do right, but I'm hoping it'll still come out okay. Maybe that will give you some help for your own gardening. I am not a master gardener. I am no expert, but I always produce a lot of food, even though it may not look pretty. So here we go. So here on the deck, I have 2 sage plants, which I do water every day. I try to water my pots every day because they get the full afternoon sun. But as you see, I am just trimming them down. Sometimes I trim at the edges. You can see that under there. And these were purchased plants. I did not grow those from seed. So I have gotten 3 harvests already, and I left plenty on there. My rosemary is also branching out, and it's growing a lot of grass. So I need to do some weeding in here. But again, I will cut off tops, I will cut off sides, and it will just continue to branch out and grow. And this will grow until the frost gets it. Now, for some people, rosemary is perennial. I have never been successful in getting it to winter over, even leaving it in the veggie pod. Yep, I don't have my gloves on, and I should. All right, and then my basil keeps trying to flower. Here is an area it's trying to flower. You just want to pinch that off. If you let your basil go to flower, it's very bitter. I have harvested a ton off of this, and it's still pretty robust. I did have a couple that did not make it. I could probably pull that out. And then over here, I just thought it was pretty, so I loved it. This is some random volunteer such stuff. My lettuce is doing great. My chives could have been harvested, but I need for them to be dry and pull out all these seed pods. Back here, guys, and this is kind of a mistake. As you see, my tomatoes are growing to the side, not straight up. Not sure why. So I have 3 cherry tomato plants, and they are bloomed and starting to bear little cherry tomatoes. And then I have the carrots, and I did not mean for them to be so close, but again, I ran out of tomato cages, so that's on me. Of course, my flowers, I just watered so they look a little wilty, but they'll perk back up. And then up here, I do have a lot. Guys, these are cherry tomatoes, but they're very big. These are called Sugar Bomb, and these are Orange Spice. So you can see those are kind of shaped like a bowling pin. And I put them in the top of the Greenstalk, and again, they're starting to go sideways because they need more support. So, you know, lesson learned, I need to buy all of the tomato cages if I'm gonna grow this many tomatoes. Do you want to tell the peoples you are finally on Broody? That's right. And you're being big girl? Yes. And say hello to everybody. She's like, no, leave me alone. All right, y'all, this is my pumpkin patch. I really thought it would simply grow up the chicken wire, but what it's doing is it's actually coming through the chicken wire. But y'all look, I've got pumpkins. And then this plant here that is also growing on the outside is our loofah. Again, probably overcrowded, but as you see, I have tons and tons of blooms. Highly recommend the pumpkin juice that I've been using. And yeah, I'll probably have to hand trim the grass, no weed eater around here. My carrots, y'all, I'm struggling with them just fully going to seed, but when you pull them up, there's nothing there. So these are truly a cold weather crop that I should not have tried to grow, you know, in the heat. And it is hot, guys. It's going to be nearly 90 here today. This plant to the left and this plant to the bottom, those are Kajari melon, and it says 60 days to maturity. I don't think it's gonna make it. These are just the side shoots of the broccoli, which needs to be pulled out. This one did not mature properly, so this is probably chicken feed. But I have a couple cabbages I need to harvest as well. All right, my pepper patch. So these are, excuse me, jalapenos. And as you see, I've got quite a few already. Not quite mature, but getting there, and those I grew from seed. I have always planted them very close together, excuse the truck, and it's never caused a problem, so I'm okay with that. My herbs need cut back, y'all, so please ignore that. In the back, I have 1, 2, and 3 sweet peppers, which the middle one has a lot of peppers on it. This one has none. I don't know exactly what's kind of gotten into this. They've had a lot of blossom failure. So because I don't use chemicals, I will either get sweet peppers or I won't. I'm not going to treat them, but I think I will, because as you see here, let me show you, I've got some pretty good sized peppers on there, and this one looks good as well. That one, not so much. This is where I harvested my onions. My plan is this morning to clear this bed and let all of the pumpkin vines cascade over into here. And y'all, you see what I see? Let's go take a look at that. So I'm super happy that I actually have a big pumpkin. Here's a little one starting. Guys, they're coming up everywhere. There's another one. There's one right here. So I should get a pretty good harvest of pumpkins. It's very usual that they take over like this. I fully knew that. I just thought they would go up before they went out, but hey, they'll probably do better not hanging because of the weight of some of the bigger pumpkins. These guys are my sunflowers, and I have to laugh because they're supposed to be 1 foot tall. They're at least 4 foot or 5 foot tall, but that's okay. Some beautiful zinnias that are just getting ready to bloom. I'm really anxious. I think this one is a purple and yellow one. Here and here are 2, and you see they're really expanding here, and they have a lot of blooms on them. I have just given them some more pumpkin juice day before yesterday. You see they're much more yellow than the things around it. Pumpkins require a ton of food. That is one thing I've learned. So these will spill out. And if they bear pumpkins, usually a vine for these mammoth pumpkins will only bear 1, maybe 2 that will survive, that the plant can actually feed. Right here are all my cucumbers. Guys, I have harvested and harvested and harvested already. Tons of little cucumbers growing. And there's a good sized one back there. And again, I tried to trellis these, but they kind of have a mind of their own. So I'm finding I have to come out every few days and pull them up. I'm not so worried about them crowding the pumpkins because those will spill out into the walkway. And yes, I'll probably have to somehow maintain a walkway. This bed, you will also notice, looks very pale next to the next bed. And this is my butternut squash. Now, I don't think I planted them too close, but I'm finding they need way more feed. And you can see some of the leaves are much greener. That's where I fed them. And they just got fed day before yesterday as well. They are going to be later in the season, but there are a ton of little blooms getting ready to blossom. So I'm just going to continue to feed them and hope I get some. These zinnias are blooming, drawing a ton of bees. Did you see? Okay, there's one. Looky there. And that is a honeybee right there to the blossoms and helping to pollinate. This, and I have taken the spinner down because it was cutting the leaves. That is my zucchini, y'all. I have harvested a bunch already, and it just continues to produce. A mistake. I probably should not have planted so many because I'm going to have enough zucchini for the universe, so I may be doing Some knock and drops, huh, Miss Violet? She likes to follow me around. This bed here is my green beans, finally blooming. Y'all, I had to plant them not once, not twice, but 3 times this year. And these are probably the biggest bush beans I've ever grown. I planted some bush sugar snap peas, and yeah, they're not so much bush peas. They are vining out everywhere. And I also have, this is a hot bell pepper plant, and that is a hot banana pepper plant, and I am getting fruit off of those already. So that is very early for Ohio growing season. Okay guys, I gotta show you my big mistake. Do not plant your tomatoes like this. Guys, they have never, ever have I had tomatoes prolific like this. They're well over my head. They are loaded with all manner of tomatoes. I've put up some trellis to try to keep them off of the ground, but I literally am going to be preserving tomatoes for months. And also my herbs are now going to flower, which attracts a lot of bees, but I think I'm ready to cut it back just so I have a little bit more walking room in the garden. I wanted to share with you my 3 beautiful cabbages. I am super pleased. This one's a little small, but this one is absolutely gorgeous, and these will keep a long time in the fridge. I also found 2 onions that I missed and a whole bunch of cucumbers. I will show you just quickly. I don't even know if you can see. Yeah, okay, you can't. I have absolutely gotten eaten up this morning just that quickly out in the garden because of the high humidity and the fog, and because I don't want to have to go to the funeral eaten up with bug bites, I decided to finish up some of the garden work and clean out a little bit later. It'll just be a moment for you, and we'll try to make something delicious from some of our fresh harvest today. All right, y'all. So veggies clean, stored in the fridge. And I thought, let's go ahead and make a quick cucumber salad. It is better if it marinates for, 4 to 5 hours. It's good in the refrigerator for a day or 2. And let me tip you down here, maybe. There. So you can use sour cream, or you can use Greek yogurt, like unflavored Greek yogurt. I do not have any Greek yogurt, so I'm going to use about half of a cup. Kind of depends on how many cucumbers you have. And y'all, this isn't exact, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. Then you want, about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise. So that will give it a nice tang. I think it makes it really good. You do want to add a little bit of salt, or salt to taste. That was probably like half a teaspoon, because you can always add salt at the table. And about a tablespoon of dill. And you could use basil, or you can use fresh dill. I did not plant dill this year. Then about that much, a tablespoon. And I'm using the organic apple cider vinegar with the mother. You can use balsamic. I'll get it out. And then you don't need a lot, but just a little bit of sugar, kind of to take away the really, really strong tang. So I'm going to give this a stir, and we're going to give it a taste. You could add garlic powder. I'm not going to add onion powder, and I'll explain why in just a moment. You could add black pepper if I didn't already say that. Now let me get a spoon. It's kind of bland, guys. Oh, no, it's not. I personally like a little bit more tang, so just a bit more vinegar. And then I'm going to give it a few cranks of black pepper Again, that's totally optional. If you don't like black pepper, leave it out. If you like more salt, put it in. I will caution you, you might want to wait until it marinates to add your salt, because what can happen, that vinegar can impart quite a salty taste, and you don't want to end up with an overly salty mix. So I am going to chop up and kind of dice up a little bit of a Vidalia onion that has been hanging out in the fridge for a while, so it's got a couple little spots in it that are less than desirable. You could do this with red onion. If you really like onions, strong onion, you could use white onions or yellow onions. I personally like the sweeter Vidalia, and that was about half of a small onion. So, yeah, maybe 1/4 cup, maybe half. And then I have peeled my cucumbers. I do not eat cucumber peeling. I know that's kind of strange. If you're using an English cucumber, like the long ones that are seedless that you buy at the store, the peel would probably be okay. What I find is what I call field cucumbers or homegrown pickling type cucumbers. That peel is bitter and I don't like it, and I don't eat things I don't like. So just gonna slice all these up. I'm sure y'all know how to slice a cucumber. I personally absolutely love cucumber. One of my favorite ways with the cucumber is to put it in some balsamic vinegar and ice water and just serve it on the dinner table. It is so good. And these cucumbers, y'all, are so fresh and so delicious. I might have cut too, or peeled too many, but I don't know if there is such a thing. I'll stir this up and see. If it's too many, I'll just eat that one plain, because plain cucumber's good. That is something growing up that we always had, were homegrown cucumbers, and I love them. Oh no, it'll take another cucumber. No problem. So let's get this last one in there, and then I'm going to give you a taste test and tell you what I think it tastes like. It puts me in the mind of pickle. I just saw a recipe for dill pickle soup. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to leave that end out. I don't know that I would like that, but it might be worth a taste. Pickles are good. All right, let me give this a good stir, kind of clean this up, and I'll come right back and we'll do a taste test, and I'll sign off. Right, sorry, just had a sneezing fit. Let's give this a taste. A little bit of onion, a little bit of cuke. Well, maybe. And yeah, I'm just eating out of the bowl, because I can. Y'all. Just the right amount of dill. Creamy, cooling, refreshing. This is a great summer dish. One of the things I love about it is you can make it all in one bowl. Let me see if I can do this without dropping you down. So very few dishes to wash, but yet some nice fresh stuff to eat. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've enjoyed my out of control garden tour, and I plan on being back next week, y'all. And I know I look rough because I haven't been wearing makeup, and that's okay too. It just depends on a lot of things. I did not know that I would get 3 videos up this week, and I would just have to see what obligations I have next week. I still have a furniture moving day coming up from my mom's apartment. I have a follow-up appointment with the cemetery for a post-burial evaluation, you know, all that stuff. So I'll just have to see. But my plan right now is to see you next week on a regular schedule like I did this week. I want to thank you all again for your sweet, kind thoughts and prayers. Keep them coming. A few more days and I'll be, I'll be in a better place. All right, guys, until I see you again, don't forget, smash that like button. Leave me a comment. What's your favorite thing to eat fresh out of the garden? And then finally, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.